Okay, so we're gonna demo this way. From the full, just mounted position, not adding the controls. Just the mounted position, like one leg on either side, okay? So those two were mount prevention. The concept of doing all of those things, but you're gonna see as we do our actual techniques that it's gonna put us right back into those things that we have just worked on. So number one, go ahead and start with the mount, all the way over. Okay, just sit up just for right now, demo purposes. Okay. Oftentimes, at the beginning belts, we haven't even seen the technique before. So it becomes learning it, getting familiar with it, and then having an idea about executing it. As the belts start to become skilled practitioner, expert practitioner, purple belt, blue belt, master practitioner, brown belt, then we've already got a pretty good level of coordination, and we start trying the techniques that we are best at. But then at times we get some resistance and our technique fails, and we're really not sure why, so we compensate by trying harder. And then I hear this statement and it makes me go, you need to understand a little bit more about it instead of getting physically better at it. And the statement is this: this is usually my go-to escape. No. Here's why. Number one, I want you to be able to identify what type of escape to use first. Not just randomly choose one that you feel physically coordinated enough to attempt on everyone. So now, for instance, there are two types of escapes. Number one, movements that turn us. So one person who started out on the bottom ends up in the top position, left side or right side. There are many, many different individual and specific techniques to accomplish that. All of those are correct. They're just situationally appropriate according to the individual circumstances of the movement, of the moment. Next, we have one, turning escapes, and two, replacing the guard escapes. Meaning I am gonna stay on my back and one person is gonna engage the legs. So in general, here is what will tell you which one to start with first. Because if we do the one that he is set up for, we're gonna have a higher chance at being successful to completion. So there's some indicators in my opponent's position that give me the idea of which one to start with. So let's start with turning escapes. Turning escapes. I start out on the bottom. I'm gonna roll us over one way or another and end up in the top position. Whether I end up in his guard or along his side and all that, we'll work on that. But now here are the indicators. Number one, an arm underneath my neck. Now that the arm is underneath my neck, he has a lower base platform with his upper body. That tells me that attempting to turn him in the direction of his narrow base is what I should start with. Sit back up. Number two, hand in my collar. Again, he has a narrow base to one side. That is the direction that I want to start with in a turning escape. Next, arms on me, weight down. Okay, whether he's trying to work my collar from this position. Again, narrow base, upper body to one side. Finally, hand on the floor, but hand on the floor directly attached to my shoulder, or what I call immediately alongside. Very, very, very close to me. If I can just turn my shoulder and have it be there, that's enough. But once it starts to get past that point, when I make an attempt to pull it in, my workload, yes, can be successful, but it can be also that my workload is through the roof. And I'm really trying and trying and trying, and I'm getting tired. It takes a lot of effort. And worse than all, I am telling him what I am going to do. And I am doing something against his choice. The reason that he has his arms out is to stop from being tipped over. And if I'm attempting to tip him over, it makes it the hardest possible work. So number one, arm under the neck. Since he narrowed his own base, what does Master Joe say? Whatever he wants to do, I'm going to help him. He wants to keep it there, right? Good, I'm going to help him keep it there. So I want to bring my hand behind my head. I'm going to pinch my elbow alongside of his shoulder. Now I want to isolate that entire side. So I have his upper body, and I'm going to step over his lower body to keep his foot from having the ability to post out once I start to threaten his base. Next, I need to get this arm involved. I can get this arm involved a couple of ways. Number one is my hand in the armpit. Number two is my bicep in the armpit. Number three is my palm at his hip. And my elbow sits straight up. My elbow tucked inside of his leg. See, I make this small circle. So I bring my elbow inside of his leg, and I bring my hand onto his hip. When I make my attempt, come all the way off me. For the action of the turn, I need to raise my hips. I need to raise my hips as high up as possible and continue to push us with my hips as high as possible to the angle. If we were on a clock, it would be 11 or 1. 11 or 1. Not 3 and 9. The more that I try to turn him and leave my hips on the ground, the more difficult it will be. The more that I try to turn him and go directly to 3 or 9, the more difficult it will be. So mount again, please. He wants it there. I'm going to help him keep it there. I step over. I take another attempt. Now watch here. This is crucial. To take this other leg and I bring it between his feet. Between his feet. If my leg is out, just by nature of the position of our bodies, as I go, forget about if he has any specific jiu-jitsu skill or intelligent resistance. As I go to turn us, his leg can get caught behind my leg, and it takes away my leverage, and it sits me back down, so it makes it as hard as possible. So I go 1, 2, 3. When I go back all the way out just for a second, all the way out. When I go to position number 3, I make an effort to get my heel as close to my butt as possible, because that will help me to get the highest extension possible. If I leave my leg out here, I really physically can't move that high. Being as small as I am, I need every millimeter that I can get. It might make a difference, right? So go ahead and come back to it. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. Placing the arm. Now I'm going to bridge and drive at 1 o'clock. Okay? That's what I want to work on for the turning escapes. Those end mechanics, regardless of how I deal with his arm, hand in my collar. Still the same idea. Something so it doesn't go back, I'm hold him close, up and over. Hand next to my shoulder. Okay, we're gonna add a step with this one. I'm gonna have you guys only do one of these, but I'm just giving you the demonstration. I'm gonna hold him, but rather than pull this large, strong individual down onto my chest, my arms versus his arms, let alone once I start pulling his awareness, fight me. No. I'm going to hold him in place if I have to, but now watch. I'm going to walk into it, and like I said, do it in sections. Pause, stop, breathe, and wait. Okay? So here we go. Arm under the neck, turning escape. Yep, mount. Yep, mount. Arm under the neck. Here, 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 here. Then we go. Okay? So just